Sagittarius Cup has been announced for the 19th of January, and I hope you enjoyed getting destroyed by the triple front meta this CM. Okay, let's dive deep into the strategy and guide for the upcoming CM8. First off, let's start with the general information. This CM8 will be held in the Nakayama 2500 meter turf. This is a long CM, or in game, it's the Arimakinan course. The condition for this race course is right-handed, winter, sunny, and firm. The hidden stats threshold for this CM will be stamina and guts. So it is definitely recommended to get a combination of something like 900 stamina and 300 guts at least, which you will get regardless because we will need the stamina for the long CM. Let's take a look at the race course itself. This race course starts with a corner, which means if you are running a front runner and you are grabbing dodging danger, this could throw you very hard as you will swing very wide before the corner turn. If you do not activate Alhara width or prudent positioning in time, you will just lose length. So please do not take this combo as it can troll you and make you just lose length. The race course has a pretty long position keep zone. You have one more corner and another straight before the position keep zone ends. The last spurt zone of the race course starts at the end of the straight before the third corner right here. Since the last spurt start at a straight, you know what? Yes, straightaway spurt is the best acceleration skill once again for this race course. Okay, let's talk about the other acceleration skills besides straightaway spurt. The corner after the spurt starts 40 meter after the straight, which Engorging Shadow will activate. These acceleration skills that will activate on these corners are Angling and Scheming, Let's Pump Some Iron, and Majora's Dober moving past and beyond. Since the corners are not too far from the 40-meter straight where the spurt procs, there's not really too much of a disadvantage for the late surgers who take Pump, for example. Here is the comparison between Pump Inherit and Straightaway Spurt. In fact, Pump on late surger gives you 0.02 length more than Straightaway Spurt. What makes this really strong is that Major Dober's Unique also activate at this point, so you could pair both of them, making a really strong acceleration start if you hit the 6th position. The funny thing is that this also indirectly buffs and closer, because as an end closer, you will also want to hit the 6th position and the 5th position. Naturally, the strongest style for this race course will be end closer. Frontrunner also has access to angling and scheming as well, so they're actually viable to a certain extent. Assuming that the lobby will not be front heavy, Pace Chaser will also benefit from inheriting angling and scheming. As we all know, in long racetracks, no stopping me is one of the strongest gambling acceleration skill. You hit this, your Uma can just win. But just know, as the name suggests, it's always a gambling acceleration skill, and it will not always prop all the time, but it's still a really good skill to take. The same thing as all the other gambling acceleration skills, like on your left, or horror power skill. These are all good skills when it activates correctly, Redshift and Shooting for Victory is not good for DCM because they will not activate on the final corner, as it will be too late for the timing to give you any value, so do not take this inherit. Let's talk about the most important stats for long race course, which is always stamina. The bare minimum stamina for this race course is 900 stamina plus 1 gold recovery plus 400 guts. Or you can just slam in 1100 stamina if you don't want to get any stamina recovery skills. However, as always, there is always stamina debuffers like Manhattan Cafe, Nice Natures, and all that, so getting extra stamina is recommended. I'd say the safe spot is around 900 stamina plus 2 gold recovery, just in case your other gold recovery doesn't proc as well. Otherwise, you can always just offer stam it as usual, because it will be pretty easy to hit high stam with Super Quick, Rico, and Umas like Cold Chip or Manhattan Cafe. Anyways, as always, run 1200 on speed and try to get as on long if you can. It is kind of non-negotiable at this point. If you want to win the CM, you basically need to get this. Power, always try to get as high as you can. As per usual, the minimum is around 600. If you can get it higher, the better. Guts, get at least 400. You will naturally get this from the Rico card. As for the width, 400 is the recommended baseline as per usual. If you want to have a higher skill chance proc, then get higher width. There is 3 builds for the CM. If you are a weaker player, then you can run a combination of speed and stamina deck. An example of this would be 3 speed, 2 stamina, and 1 recall. This can be 3 speed card, which will be Kita-san and your 2 other speed card. As for the stamina card, this will be a super great borrow and another stamina card like Manhattan Cafe or Mayano stamina card. Super Creek will be your main borrow because this card will provide you Swinging Maestro and Stamina. You can adjust how many speed and stamina card you want in the deck depending on your Umas and your parents' sparks as well. For the stronger players, if you want to have a higher power, you could opt into a 2-speed 1 Rise Shower Borrow, Rico, and 2 with cards. You will need to run a very high stamina spark for this one. Rise Shower will give you the 2 gold recovery you need and will raise your stamina to about 900 to 1000-ish. But you will sacrifice your non stopping me for a cooldown if you want to take the second gold recovery. This build will also give you a higher width, which is really nice. However, with this build, it will definitely require you to high roll for the runs, especially for the speed because you only run 2 speed cards. So if it's not a really good run, you will just not hit 1200 on speed. Otherwise, you can also always opt to drop the wit cards for another speed cards. This leads us to the other build, where we will focus more on speed, stamina, and power instead and sacrifice our wit. It will be a combination of 3 speed, 1 stamina, 1 recall, and a power card. I think this will be the most stable build for all of the people. The stamina card can be any SR cards that you have, and you will borrow the Rice Shower power card. This way, it will also be easier to hit high stamina and power at the same time. The stamina slot is also a flex slot. If you have a really high stamina parent spark and Rico, I think you can even hit 1000 stamina with a lot of stamina spark and 2 power card. Let's talk about the meta for the CM. It's a long CM and as always, and closer is always the king for this type of CMs. The reason being is that one, they dodge stamina debuffers, because most of the debuffers like Knife Nature are in the late position with their all-seeing eye, and two, they have access to the strongest acceleration skill in the game for long race courses, which is Straightaway Spurt or Encroaching Shadow. The strongest Uma for the CM is Tamamo Cross, which will be released during the CM itself. Tamamo simply is the best and closer because of her unique and middle X skills. Her unique is a strong bonus speed and acceleration, which will activate on the straight nearing the final spurt. If you overtake into the last spurt and activate this unique, it has crazy potential. Tamamo also has innate straightaway spurt, so you don't need to do the parent grind and all that. She also has Tail 9, which is the gold version of Tail Head High, which helps Tamamo to overtake in the middle leg into the 6th position. When it comes to long CMs, frontrunner will always suffer because of the not so easy access to gold recovery skill, although this CM is a bit different as Arigamakinen is on the lower side of the length in the long CMs, making it a less harsh condition on the stamina requirement. One more thing that makes Runner not really strong is that angling and scheming activates a bit late in this race course, so there is always a chance that Pace Chaser's prognosticing me luckily just steals your first place. Christmas Augury will already be released for this CM, so expect a lot of Pace Chasers to be Christmas Augury. In fact, this CM is actually not Christmas Augury's best race course due to the placement of her unique activation. You have two builds for Christmas Augury on the CM. The first one is mixing middle leg and straight recovery skills for her unique to proc. This is in the hope of her proccing the straight recovery skills before the last spurt starts. It has like 30% chance of popping off because there are 3 straights. If you proc it on the middle straight before the last spurt, you will have an insane speed carryover and an insane spurt speed due to her unique having acceleration and bonus speed. There's also the other build which rely on the 777. But with this build, since your unique starts a bit later compared to the Encouraging Shadow and Straightaway Spurt position, you can still lose to the Naruto Taishins. One thing that made Christmas Ogre really strong aside from her kit is that since it is a long CM, we are going to expect less front runners because it will not be the meta. With this, Ogre has a high chance to get the lucky pace at the start. And yep, if Ogre procs lucky pace into her unique, it's GG. Chances are you are never going to catch that ogre. The way to counter this is really simple. You just run a runner or a chariot at the front to build the pace and even buff your late surger and any closer. For those of you who doesn't know what chariot is building a front runner to pace up the room tempo. This will help your late surger and encloser at the back. The typical frontrunner will be your Onige Suzuka or Runway Rabbit. This works also as a frontrunner denier. You might be thinking now, Is Runaway Suzuka Ace so strong since in this Scorpio Cup, it was like the strongest Uma and invincible in the race? I would say no. Aside from the high stamina issue and needing goal recoveries, Suzuka's performance this EM was so strong because she could chain angling and skimming into unrestrained. For Nakayama 2500-meter turf, unrestrained procs at the final corner, which is way further than the last spurt. So effectively, Suzuka only have angling and skimming as her sole source of acceleration. It also doesn't have access to no stopping me like the other style because Suzuka will always be at the front. One other major downfall of Runaway is also that it has the lowest top speed for the last spurt. Can you defend your lead on roughly 700-meter long spurt where Narita Taishin and Goldship will run rampant? Suzuka's best role for the next CM is simply as a blocker or a chariot for setting up the room pace for your backliners to win. You can set up a no stopping me when she dies or set up for your pace chaser overtake unique. Okay, talking about another strategy that was very meta on Scorpio Cup, which is the Bermuda Triangle or triple front or Suzuka plus two front or whatever you want to call it. Is this strategy still really strong on the CM? No. This strategy is not real and please do not run this strategy. The triple front strategy was so strong because you had Suzuka doing angling and scheming from the first position, Maruzensky doing acceleration with redshift from the second position, and Taiki Shell doing acceleration with shooting for victory from the third position. What this causes is they all three duel on the last straights since they are all so close to each other, which makes you expand the lead and just win the game. It does not work on CM8 because you do not have Maruzensky and Taiki Shuttle to cover this. What will happen is just you will get overtaken by Goldship and Narita Taishin with no stopping me and Survey's Bird. Let's talk about the recommended UMA for each style. For the frontrunners, as per usual, Mercedes Sky plus Summer Maru combo, I think will always be the most consistent frontrunners for every CM. Just grab your taking the lead plus groundwork combo and inherit angling and skimming. For the pace chasers, there are a lot of options, but the strongest will be Christmas Ogre. Just know that if you build Christmas Ogre, try to have a higher width in your build, because if you fail the width check to proc through recovery skills, her unique is simply useless. There are also always other options like Menshiro McQueen, Agnes Tachyon, and pace chasers that has good unique and full recovery skills in their kit. They are all fireable. For Pace Chaser specifically, since Lucky Pacer will be more frequent in the lobbies, you can even take groundwork and inherit angling and scheming to your Pace Chaser. You can simply play them as a frontrunner from the pace position. Groundwork will secure your lucky pace if there is no other groundwork user in the room. For late surgers, there are always a lot of options like Summer Special Week, Symbol and Rudolph, and all the other gambling horses. But I don't think there's any point in running a late surger when there's an option to make it as an encloser. They both function similarly where you want to get all the gambling actions and skills, and on top of it, Encloser just has access to a straightaway spurt anyway. For the Enclosers, you can always force Uma from the other style to an Encloser, for example, your normal Ogre. But the recommended Uma are Narita Taishin due to encouraging Shadow as always, Manhattan Cafe, and Tamamo Cross. These three are the strongest Encloser for the premium Uma. If you are a free-to-play player, your best option that will never fail you is your beloved gold chip. Just get Spurt, No Stopping Me, Let's Pump Some Iron, and Moving Past and Beyond from Major Dober, and they will do their magic. Honestly, for team composition, there's not much variation as it's always boring on long CM. The first strategy, which I think will be the strongest, is Runway Suzuka plus two aces. This can be your pace chaser to get a setup or simply another late surger and end closer. I do recommend always running one end closer, at least in your team, because again, straightaway spurt, and it is just the strongest style for the CM. The second strategy is just two late surger or end closer plus one pace chaser. It has three aces, and you just spray one of your Uma to proc no stopping me and their acceleration skill, so you win the race. Also, having one pace chaser is nice for the lucky pace chance in the lobby. There will always be frontrunner tryhards, and so they will run something like two fronts with Summer Mario and Seeing Sky, plus one enclosure, which is probably Gold Chip as their backup aces. Lastly, there's always the stamina debuffer comp. This could be something like triple debuffer if they want to triple down on it. It will be something like Nice Nature, Manhattan Cafe, and Major Dober. Dober and Nice Nature has All Seeing Eye and Manhattan Cafe with Stamina Green. But just know, Major Rover has a really bad aptitude on long, which is F, so keep this in mind. Long CM are always and closer field, so I think we'll be looking forward to possibly another Gold Chip or Naruto Taishin Cup. And also, depending on how many people are going to pull for Tamamo Cross, it could possibly be a Tamamo Cup. Anyways, thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.